Hi there, it's Mary Charleson here from 5minutemarketing.com. I'm here today to review Mark Schaefer's new book called Marketing Rebellion. And as you can tell by any book that you've read where you've annotated, look at all these little places that I've marked off with amazing insights. You can tell when a book really kind of resonates with you and it causes you to challenge everything you've previously thought you knew about marketing. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a short review around this, and then I'm going to take us through some of the points which I think really stand out. First up, this book will cause you to rethink much of what you thought you knew about marketing, especially in the area of increasing influence of technology, in particular SEO, funnels, databases, retargeting, social media control, or what you thought you controlled, and things like custom audiences, but also traditional high-reach media. It's not that these should be tossed out completely out the door, but they're relegated to what Mark calls the 1/3. So they're much less effective than they used to be. And the other 2/3, and this is based on Kinsey report research, the other 2/3 is now out of our control, and that's customer shared content, reviews, word of mouth, both online and off. And a lot of that offline word of mouth is incredibly powerful. He advocates that in this era of customer control, that marketing is really about creating experiences and peak moments that will be shared by your customers. Basically, think about those things that you do that your customers might take out their phone and take a photo and record in some way and then share. Those are what we call, amazing experiences and peak moments. Okay. Essentially, he says, technology should be used to help make the customer experience seamless and efficient, not for blasting them with targeted messages to buy our stuff, which frankly has become the way that a lot of us are using social media. It's an approach that demands a cultural shift and buy-in from leadership, and it doesn't fit neatly into existing marketing departments. And it also runs counter to many agency models. So this book is going to challenge a lot of people. It demands a different skill set, lots of creativity, and it sees marketing as everyone's job. But this book, it's right on. I've been at this marketing stuff for a while. This book will challenge you, but the time is absolutely right for marketing to become more human, which is what Mark advocates. I think he nails it. So let me take you through a couple of things which I just kind of pulled tabs here. So first thing here is that that landmark research from McKinsey revealed just how dramatically consumer behavior has flipped the world of marketing in this rebellion. The company found that on average, 2/3 of the touch points during the evaluation phase of a purchase involve human-driven marketing activities like internet reviews, social media conversations, and word-of-mouth recommendations from family, friends, and online experts. That's much of the kind of basic premise that he builds out everything else out on in the book. A couple other insights here. We don't own our customer's journey. From page 72, the consumers do. The new job of marketing is to help consumers carry our stories forward in their conversation storm. Basically, it's about us letting go and letting our customers control the message. Here's another insight here. Studies consistently show that content about a brand created by a consumer in their authentic voice receives between 600 and 700% more engagement than content about the same product posted by the company. There's a stat that should kind of stop you in your tracks. Flipping forward here to page 86. The best companies on earth don't own customers. They own a space, and they help their customers belong there. A little further back in the book, Mark uses the analogy of islands and how customers are clustering together in islands of interest. And it's really hard to get invited onto the island if you're just pushing stuff out there. It's almost like you have to earn the invitation as a friend. What are some other, there's so many places that I've pulled tabbed here, but Love this quote here. It's page 117. Today, the focus can't be on storytelling. It's story making. Let's just take that apart for a minute. So storytelling it's great, right? Many brands have been built on storytelling, but that's all about us crafting and controlling the story and then sharing it out. Story making, on the other hand, is about creating the environment that allows a story to evolve and unfold that our customers then grab a hold of and share out. See, it's a subtle difference, but it's very, very important in this new era. Let's see here. The company has almost no formal marketing or advertising because the great story of the community connections keeps spreading and fueling rapid growth. And I think in this particular instance, he was talking about a software company that has done some work in this area. Sorry, actually no, this was about America furniture company called Room and Board. Excuse me, I got ahead of myself on examples. Great example with that one. What's another one? He talks about, let's see here, some examples with JetBlue. It's filled with lots of really current examples. A lot of them are American, but he's got some that are international as well. Chapter 6, he dips into this whole notion around purpose, right? And brands needing a purpose. And he follows this up with, he talks about being, product, price, place, promotion, purpose being the fifth P. But he follows this up with some fairly astute kind of research and essentially saying that consumers these days are looking for brands that represent values. They want to believe in something. And this is particularly relevant with the millennials. Can we connect our choices to positive impact in our world? That's the question they're wanting to know. Is that, the meaning economy has created a new consumer who's drawn to brands that enable them to express their values. And this may well be why we've seen some brands kind of take a stand, right? Nike's has taken a stand on politics. There's always a risk with this. You've got to have a back end kind of management of your public relations. But when you take a stand, when you have meaning, you will resonate that much more closely with that audience that loves you and is attracted to you. And he admits freely that, yes, that may repel some, but maybe that is not who you're not meant to be everything to everybody. Meaning is the new money. Meaning is the new marketing. I thought that was an interesting statement as well. What are some other things here? Another thing, research conducted by Edelman, this is on page 134, showed that 67% of consumers will try a brand for the first time solely because they agree with its position on controversial topics, or a controversial topic, excuse me. And 65% said that they will not buy a brand when it stays silent on an issue that they consider important. Interesting. And as he said, is that a lot of this becomes even more important with millennials. So as, depending on what products that who your target audience is, that might be extremely relevant, but it's relevant for all of us as we move along here. The majority, this is page 136, the majority of consumers, 93%, said that they're more likely to purchase when a chief executive issues statements about pressing social issues, and they agree with the sentiment. So he's basically saying this is not for the faint of heart if you want to kind of go down the whole marketing and meaning and purpose route. He takes a stab at marketing automation and basically challenges us to say, you know what, it's time for the IT departments to quit running marketing. We've become so kind of lost in this whole measurement and click funnels and compartmentalizing and automation, and he's saying essentially that maybe we've gone too far down that route. It's not to say that you can't utilize that to make the customer experience that much more valuable or seamless and easy. But when we use it for the exclusive right of blasting them with information, he thinks that this is increasingly falling on deaf ears. Let's see here. He says, simply downloading a PDF doesn't make me a lead. And it doesn't mean anybody has the right to interrupt my day with calls and emails and newsletters that I never subscribe to. I'm a big believer in email marketing, but I send it out to what I consider to be my close tribe, my 5-minute marketing news tips. And I don't want anybody on there who doesn't want to receive it. And so, and it's all about giving away things for free. So I think that kind of use is good, but I'll freely admit I get stuff daily that I never signed up for, and I unsubscribe, and it still comes in. It's totally violating, some of the castle laws up in here in Canada, but a lot of it's coming from out of the country, so there's not much I can do about that. Another example of tech gone wrong is the popular practice of lead nurturing, which is just a pleasant way to say, I'm going to keep berating you with emails until you block me. It's not that he's saying that the automation is exclusively bad, but the way a lot of companies are using it is bad. And he's saying it's time for marketing to take back ownership, get creative, earn the conversation and the right to have your customers share freely your information and your story, and not rely on the IT department to try and buy your way in. And the fearful that access, just the whole facial recognition, and how we're going down a really interesting path with all this stuff. And he's sort of saying, maybe it's time to just stop and think, is there a better way? All right, a few other insights here, and then I'll wrap this up here. Let's see, there's some gems. This concept of the islanders, I love this thing. And he talked about being, I think it was in the Greek islands somewhere, he was on holidays, and just the notion there are these different islands, and different cultures and communities had developed on these islands. And, like inhabitants of any small island, communication travels quickly, and there's a strong shared story, bonds of trust, wariness of strangers. People travel back and forth on the islands to visit different tribes of friends with other shared interests. It's almost like small town stuff as well. And so if you think about it from that perspective, you're trying to treat customers as groups of interest groups and on islands. And so how do you fit in? Anybody who's ever moved from a city to a small town can probably appreciate this analogy. You want to be a friend, you want to fit in, and you want to belong. So basically, you join, you do something useful. You don't go in looking to get, you go in looking to give. Respect time, our freedom, and our privacy. Come alongside us and be there when we need you. Show us that you share our values, even if it makes you unpopular on other islands. If we're going to be loyal to you, you have to be loyal to us. Create fun experiences that show us what life is like beyond our limited view of the island. Don't just tell us you're great and you belong here. We want to see it. We want to hear, to see that you're on the island, and then we'll develop our own opinion. That's the way that we work, and that's often the way it is in small towns. I grew up in a small town, you might have gathered. Never annoy us or show up uninvited. It's just rude. Love that one. Island Tactics, that's on page 180. A few other things here. He talks just a little bit about the word of mouth, power of word of mouth. And it's not just word of mouth online, or as I like to call it, word of mouth, mouse, and mobile. Actually, I wrote a book about that. Probably should have had that one up here, but word of mouth, mouse, and mobile, and getting your message shared in the age of social. But Mark talks about the word of mouth and how much of it happens offline and in just conversations between friends and people, frankly, on the island. and how that's become so important in the era of fake news, right? And because we trust things from our friends, but we also trust stuff that has not been curated for us necessarily online. Just talks about some creating peak moments. Love this concept. Page 194. How to create peak moments. Talked about Magic Castle Hotel, which is in Los Angeles on TripAdvisor. It's really just kind of a 2-story walk-up motel, but it does a couple things really, really cool. There's the red cherry phone down by the pool where it's called the Popsicle Hotline, and you can order popsicles on a hot day, and somebody comes down with a silver platter, white gloves, and serves you a popsicle. They also have their board game menu, the DVD menu, and you can drop off unlimited loads of laundry for free. Stuff like that. Think about it, right? Somebody delivers you a popsicle after dialing, on a rotary dial phone or something like that. I don't know if it's rotary dial, but that'd be cool if it was. After ordering up your popsicle, they deliver it on a silver platter with white gloves. Tell me that's not going to show up on an Instagram story, right? That's the kind of stuff that gets shared, and then the customer takes ownership of your story, right? There's lots of examples, not in here, but there's stuff that I've shared in client presentations around the Hotel Z up here in Canada, in Kelowna and Victoria. They do really cool retro stuff. I know there was the Olsen Hotel in Melbourne, Australia, that did their the checkout. Basically, it was they guaranteed you another night for free if there was nobody coming in, and it was called the overstay policy. Kind of a cool thing. Again, it's all memorable moments, right? And but this diagnostic, one simple diagnostic to gauge whether you've transcended the ordinary, is if people feel the need to pull out their cameras. If they take a picture, it must be special, and that's the moment of elevation that creates conversations. Page 196. Okay, anything else here? I'm going to skip through a bunch of other things here, but towards the back, he talks about this idea of how this whole thing has to be kind of culturally, it's got to have buy-in from the top. It's got to have buy-in from top leadership, and it's got to be a notion of almost cultural of the company. You can't just kind of read this book and go, hey, we should do this in our marketing department. It's got to be something that the entire company embraces, and that's got to come from the top. That's not something that kind of percolates up from the bottom necessarily. But the examples that he gives, the companies that are doing this and doing it well, are not out there buying ads. They're not out there, retargeting with their Facebook pixel. I might be doing some of that, but primarily they're creating experiences, and they're allowing the customers to tell the story. And so he challenges us towards the end to basically take a look at this and let it scare you. Let it be something that allows you to embrace and think differently. I'm willing to bet there will be a time period when this approach, there'll be people who read about it and they'll go, that's cool, but we've got our agency, our leader's not going to buy into this. We've already got such great, we've got our follow-up, our measurement, we got our SEO, we've got our social media guy, we've got all this stuff going on. We don't want to mess it up. And it is working. And but there'll be other companies that go, I think Mark's onto something here. And there will be a time period of a couple of years where, companies will be able to stand out. And my own personal take, Mark doesn't go into this, but, I think if we take a look at cult brands, Harley Davidson, Swell, Lululemon, Apple. There's various cult brands that, yes, they have formal, advertising budgets, but they have intuitively been doing a lot of this stuff already. And then there's countless other companies that we don't even hear. They're not even on our radar, that are doing this stuff so well already, just intuitively, because it's been baked into their DNA to create experiences and create stories. So that's my final take on Mark's book. Frankly, you know what, Schaefer, you nailed it. Highly recommended. And I'm going to be writing up a little bit more of a formal written review on this on my blog, 5minutemarketing.com, which is FIVE minutemarketing.com. I'll put links up to that in this video, and also I'll give you a handy dandy link for ordering this baby online. Only became available February 1st, 2019, so hot off the press. Highly recommend you grab yourself a copy. All right, take care. Thanks.